All right, let's dive in. Today we're tackling malicious AI in cybersecurity, something I know a lot of you've been asking about. We're taking a close look at this white paper, The Rise, Use, and Future of Malicious AI, A Hacker's Insight.
Oh yeah, that one's a real eye-opener.
It really is. And it's written by, get this, an ethical hacker who goes by Freaky Clown.
Freaky clown.
And the best part, that's his legal name, even on his passport. I mean, how cool is that?
That's amazing. You know, it really drives home the point that AI, like any tool, has a double edge, right?
Exactly. It can be used for good or not so good.
Right.
And that's what we're unpacking today. How are cybercriminals weaponizing AI? And more importantly, how can you protect yourself?
It's crucial to understand the basics first.
Yeah, absolutely.
AI at its core is basically machines mimicking human intelligence. We're talking about things like learning, reasoning, even self-correction.
So computers that learn from their mistakes get smarter over time.
Precisely. And in cybersecurity, we're seeing AI being used on both sides of the fence, the good guys and the bad guys.
Which is fascinating, right? Because the paper talks about how AI is changing the game for both defense and offense.
Right.
This whole concept of technology transfer where advances on one side quickly influence the other side.
Absolutely. That's a key point. One of the things AI excels at is analyzing massive data sets and spotting patterns much faster than any human could.
So it's all about speed.
Speed is a big factor, yeah. AI can detect threats and reduce response times, giving attackers less time to exploit vulnerabilities.
It's like having a hyper-aware security guard constantly monitoring your network.
Exactly. Take email security, for instance, or network traffic analysis. AI can spot those tiny anomalies that would slip right past a human analyst.
Making it much harder for the bad guys to hide.
Precisely.
But now let's flip the script and look at the darker side. The paper goes into how criminals are using AI to create really advanced malware, automate phishing attacks, even manipulate public opinion with deepfakes.
Yeah, and what's fueling this trend is the accessibility of AI tech, combined with the anonymity of the dark web.
It's like a breeding ground for malicious AI.
It is. The paper mentions tools like Fraud GPT, Poison GPT.
Virus GPT, Evil GPT. It sounds like a villain's toolkit from a movie.
Right. Those names are a direct reference to legitimate AI tools like ChatGPT, but of course, twisted for criminal activities.
And that's where it gets really interesting and a little scary with the case studies Freaky Clown lays out. Real-world examples of AI being weaponized right now.
It's not just theory anymore. These are actual attacks that have happened.
Like the first case study is about this AI-enhanced malware. You know the Morris worm, one of the first self-replicating malware programs?
Right.
Well, researchers have created what they're calling Morris worm 2.0. It uses AI to steal data, deploy more malware, and copy itself across platforms.
A sobering thought.
For sure. What's even more worrying is that this AI-powered malware can evolve and adapt to security measures, becoming more dangerous over time.
Like a virus mutating to resist antibiotics.
Exactly. It's constantly changing, making it incredibly difficult to defend against.
And it might not be long before this type of malware can actually recognize the system it's attacking and adjust its strategy accordingly.
Okay, so that's AI-powered malware. The next case study dives into deepfakes and impersonation. This technology has advanced so quickly that it's terrifying.
Right.
You can create incredibly realistic fake videos and audio now using tools like Roop Unleashed, and you don't even need to be tech savvy to use it.
That's the scary part. It's a deepfake tool for the masses, basically.
And the potential for harm is huge. The paper tells this crazy story about a finance worker in Hong Kong who got tricked into transferring $26 million to scammers.
Wow.
They used deepfakes to impersonate a company executive. It was so convincing the worker didn't even question it.
Deepfakes aren't just about money, though, right?
No, not at all. They're being used for political manipulation, spreading misinformation, you name it.
There's been a rise in AI-generated audio being used in fake kidnapping scams, too.
That's just awful. Cloning a child's voice to extort money from parents, it's chilling to think about.
Really highlights the urgent need to address the ethical implications of this technology.
For sure. Okay, so we've covered AI-powered malware, deepfakes. The third case study focuses on AI-powered hacking tools.
Right.
Freaky Clown describes AI as a hacker's assistant, basically making it easier for criminals with limited technical skills to launch attacks.
Exactly. We're talking about tools like Nebula, developed by Beryllium Sec.
Yeah, this one's supposed to help ethical hackers, but it could easily be misused.
Right. What's concerning is that it lets users interact with a computer using natural language,
Yeah.
simplifying those complex hacking procedures.
So instead of writing code, a criminal could just tell the computer what to do, and the AI figures out how to do it.
Essentially, yeah. And while tools like Nebula still require some level of expertise, the rapid pace of AI development could change that very soon.
That's a worrying thought, that anyone could become a cybercriminal with the right AI tool.
It is. Given all these developments, how do you see AI impacting the future of cybersecurity?
It's a double-edged sword, right? AI offers a ton of potential for enhancing security, but it also presents some serious
It
challenges.
does. We need to be prepared for more sophisticated attacks, more frequent attacks, attacks that are harder to defend against.
It's like we're entering a new era of cyber warfare, where algorithms and data are the weapons.
In many ways, we already are. But it's not all doom and gloom. Just as AI can be used to launch attacks, it's also essential for building powerful defenses.
So using AI to fight AI.
Precisely. And that's where things get really interesting. But we'll dive into that in part 2 of this deep dive. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive on malicious AI. Before the break, we were talking about how AI is making cyber attacks more complex and harder to predict.
Right, and we were just about to get to the part about using AI to fight back against these new threats. It seems a little counterintuitive to use the same technology that's being used against us, you know?
It might seem that way, but it's actually a very effective approach. Think about it. If criminals are using AI to create malware that learns and adapts, we need defenses that can do the same. It's like an arms race.
Yeah, but with algorithms instead of weapons.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
what does an AI-powered defense system look like?
Yeah.
How is it different from traditional security measures? Well, one key area is threat detection.
Okay.
Traditional security systems rely on signatures, basically a database of known threats.
Right.
But AI can analyze patterns and anomalies in real time, finding threats that have never been seen before. This is huge in a world where the threat landscape is constantly shifting.
So it's not just playing catch up with the latest malware.
Right, AI can actually learn from past attacks to predict future ones, which gives us a proactive edge. We can stop threats before they even cause any real damage.
So it's like having an AI security guard who not only recognizes the usual suspects, but can also spot a new threat based on their behavior, even if they've never seen them before.
That's a great way to put it. AI can also automate incident response.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
So when an attack happens, time is critical. AI can instantly identify the source, contain the damage, and start fixing things much faster than any human could.
So it's like an AI SWAT team ready to neutralize the threat and clean up the mess in seconds.
That's exactly it. And here's another advantage. AI can analyze massive amounts of threat intelligence data from around the world, identify trends, and predict future attacks.
So not just reacting to attacks, but actually getting ahead of them.
That's the goal. But even though AI defenses have a lot of potential, there are a few things we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, like what?
Explainability. We need to understand how AI systems arrive at their decisions, especially in security.
Makes sense. If an AI system flags something as a threat, we need to know why. Is it a real threat, or is it just a false alarm?
Right, we can't blindly trust the AI. And that leads us to another important point. Human oversight. AI shouldn't replace human expertise entirely. We still need skilled security professionals to interpret the AI's findings and make informed decisions.
So it's a partnership, AI and humans working together.
Exactly. The AI does the heavy lifting, crunching data and finding threats, but humans are still in control, making the final call.
Okay, so besides AI, what other elements are crucial for a strong cybersecurity strategy in this age of AI-powered attacks?
One thing that often gets overlooked is the human element. No matter how sophisticated our AI defenses are, humans will always be a weak point that attackers can exploit.
You mean things like phishing scams and social engineering, tricking people instead of hacking systems?
Exactly. And cybercriminals are using AI to make these attacks even more sophisticated and convincing. So employee training and awareness are more important than ever.
We need to educate people to be more cautious online. Think twice before clicking links or giving out personal information.
Absolutely. Another key element is collaboration and information sharing. Cybercriminals are constantly sharing info on the dark web. We need to do the same on the side of defense.
You're talking about organizations, even governments, working together, sharing information about threats and vulnerabilities.
Precisely. By sharing what we know and working as a team, we can present a united front against cybercrime.
This has been really eye-opening, but I have to say it's a little overwhelming. It feels like we're entering uncharted territory with AI, and the future is a bit uncertain.
It's true that there are a lot of unknowns,
Mhm.
but we're not powerless. By understanding the risks, investing in good defenses, and working together, we can handle these challenges.
So being proactive, vigilant, and adaptable.
Exactly. And keep in mind that while these AI-powered attacks are becoming more advanced, the biggest threat for most people is still going to be those AI-generated phishing emails.
So even in this new age of AI cyber attacks, the good old phishing email is still the most common threat.
It is, which is why it's so important to stay informed, be careful about what you click on, and remember that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
This has been a fascinating discussion. We've talked about the evolution of AI and cybersecurity, the emergence of malicious AI, and how AI can be used for defense. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up part two?
I encourage everyone to learn more about AI and cybersecurity. The more you know, the better you can protect yourself.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. And remember, this is a constantly evolving field, so staying informed and being proactive is key. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll be discussing some of the bigger societal and ethical implications of AI in cybersecurity.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into malicious AI. So far, we've focused on the technical side of things, but now we need to shift gears and talk about the ethical and societal implications of all this. Because it's not just about the technology itself, right? It's about how it impacts our lives and the world we live in.
You're absolutely right. AI has the power to reshape our society in some pretty profound ways, and it's important that we start having these conversations now, before it's too late. We need to think about the potential consequences and make sure that the development and use of AI align with our values, ethically speaking.
One of the biggest concerns I keep hearing about is AI making existing inequalities even worse. We've already seen cases where AI systems show bias, often reflecting the biases that were present in the data they were trained on.
Yeah, that's a real concern. If you train an AI system on data that's biased against certain groups of people, those biases can get amplified in the system's decisions and actions.
And that could have a huge impact, right? Especially in areas like law enforcement or hiring, where AI is being used more and more to make these critical decisions.
Exactly. Think about loan applications or even healthcare. If AI is making decisions based on biased data, that could have serious consequences for people's lives.
It really makes you realize that AI isn't this neutral thing. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad, depending on who's using it and what their intentions are.
That's why it's so important to have diverse perspectives involved in developing and deploying these AI systems. We need developers, ethicists, social scientists, all working together to make sure that these systems are designed and used fairly and equitably for everyone's benefit.
It's not just about who's building the technology, but also whose voices are being heard during the whole process, making sure AI isn't just serving a select few, but actually reflects the needs and values of all of us.
Another ethical concern is transparency and accountability. As AI systems become more complex and start making decisions on their own, it gets harder to understand how they're arriving at those decisions.
So it becomes a black box and we don't know what's going on inside.
Right. And that raises questions about who's responsible when something goes wrong. If an AI system makes a mistake, who's to blame?
That's a tough one. Is it the developer, the user, or the system itself? It's kind of a legal and ethical gray area right now, and it's something we definitely need to figure out as AI becomes more embedded in our lives.
We need clear guidelines and regulations to make sure there's accountability and that people's rights are protected.
Absolutely. And then there's the impact of AI on jobs and the economy. As these systems become more capable, they're going to be able to automate tasks that are currently done by humans.
And that could lead to job displacement and a lot of disruption.
It's that whole robots are taking our jobs fear, but it's not just about blue-collar jobs anymore, right? AI can automate tasks in fields like law, medicine, even finance.
That's right. And while AI will definitely create new jobs and opportunities, it will also likely displace existing ones. So we need to be thinking ahead, figuring out how to adapt to these changes in the workforce.
Investing in education and training programs so people can learn the skills they need to succeed in this AI-powered world is going to be key.
It's about fostering a culture of lifelong learning, always being ready to adapt, because the jobs of the future might not even exist yet. So we need to keep learning and evolving to keep up.
We can't afford to get stuck in the past or be afraid of change. Embracing new skills and knowledge is how we stay relevant.
And maybe the most important thing is to have a broader conversation as a society about the future we want to create with AI. What are our values? What are our priorities? How do we want AI to shape our world?
These aren't just technology questions. They're questions about who we are and what kind of world we want to live in.
Exactly. Do we just want AI to automate tasks and make things more efficient? Or do we want it to help us solve some of the world's biggest problems, like climate change or poverty?
It's about making conscious choices, right? Not just letting technology dictate our future.
Exactly. AI has this immense potential for good or bad. But the future of AI isn't set in stone. We're shaping it right now with our choices and actions.
That's a powerful thought. AI isn't just a tech issue, it's a human issue. It's about our values, our choices, and the kind of world we want to leave behind.
Our exploration of malicious AI has shown us its capabilities, its potential for harm, and the ethical considerations we have to be mindful of. It's clear that AI is changing cybersecurity, and those changes are going to reach far beyond the digital world.
The takeaway here is that knowledge is power. The more we understand about how AI is being used, the better equipped we are to make good decisions and create a safer, more equitable, and just world. We can't just sit back and watch this happen. We need to be active participants, guiding the development of AI in a direction that benefits everyone.
Well said. And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation. The future of AI is being written as we speak, and we all have a part to play in shaping it.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of malicious AI. We'll see you next time. Keep asking those questions, stay informed, and stay engaged in this crucial conversation about the future of technology and its impact on our world.